Welcome back, everybody. Today's video is going to be the next iteration of my educational Smurf series, where you're going to see me in the mid 3K bracket, picking a cheese hero, in this case, Huskar, purposely picking it not last and getting hard countered, thanks to the guy on the enemy team. I appreciate you doing that for me. And we're going to see exactly how we try to overcome this hard counter. Now, I don't want to give you guys too much of a spoiler, but due to the fact that I'm hard countered, it makes it very difficult to survive in this game. And there's going to be a decent amount of feeding. But guys, feeding is not always bad, at least not outside the game of Dota 2. I would like to thank HelloFresh for sponsoring today's video. You can go to my link, use my code POGBANANAFREE, and receive 1 free breakfast item per box while your subscription is active. You guys can find that link in the description below, or you can scan the QR code at the bottom of your screen and immediately have access to delicious food. For those of you who did not already know, once you go to my link, you will see that HelloFresh is an online food subscription service that you order and get that food delivered straight to your door. And no matter what your New Year's resolution is, to save time and money, to eat healthier food, or to start cooking in general, HelloFresh will do all of that and more just for you. Then you get to also organize your priorities, as not only do they have all of these options, but they also have them categorized for you. So if you're looking to be fitter, if you're looking to be healthier, you can see that there's an entire section for this that has protein smart, carb smart, calorie smart. So you're skimping out on the calories, but not on the quality of your meal. If you're anything like me, where time is of the essence and you always feel like it's too difficult to fit cooking into your schedule, then there's a quick and easy section just for you. I myself have used HelloFresh numerous times, and I like to think of it just like an item guide for a hero in Dota, where they lay out the steps for you, they tell you exactly what you're supposed to buy, exactly what you're supposed to do, and you just get to play your hero, which in this case, you just get to cook the food and enjoy it. That is why I've always loved HelloFresh and why I know you'll love it too. Don't forget to click the link in the description below or check out the QR code that's still there in the bottom of your screen to get yours today. Now, if you're not hyped about feeding with that, I don't know what's going to get you guys hyped. So back to the video we go to see me feed, as I am going to be Huskar mid against Viper. One of the hardest counters in the game, if not one of the most difficult to play against, because of the fact that Viper's ult, instead of his W, now breaks through BKB as well. So not only does he break you, Huskar becomes completely useless, but in general, there's no item you can really play around with it. And once you do get ulted, you're useless. So you can't even take people out with you on your way out. I did like picking Huskar with Dazzle, but I'm going to give you guys a little bit of forewarning. This game was incredibly frustrating for me, and I apologize in retroactiveness to my teammates for this one, because when you're dealing with hard counters, you have to absolutely adapt to exactly what makes that hero a hard counter. So throughout this video, I'm going to be telling you guys how I planned to adapt to this, why I got so frustrated with my teammates. I understand I'm smurfing for not doing that, and exactly what you guys can do in your games to overcome these bad matchups if you get stuck with them in the draft. So let's start with the lane. So when it comes to laning, my first thought is, what is my game plan to get out of this lane? And also, when I think of my items, how long am I going to stay in lane? So I have a lot of stat items in my inventory as Huskar. That's to make sure I have enough right-click damage to CS. And in a lot of good matchups, I would immediately go for a Bracer, because I plan to stay in the lane for a really long time. I plan to hit the opponent a lot of times with my Burning Spears, so that extra damage and regen is going to be nice. But in this lane, I'm against Viper, a matchup I don't want to be in, and I want to get out as soon as possible with as many jungling items. In this case, I want to get to my armlet as soon as possible, and I want to interact with him as little as possible. So how do we do that? We prevent him from stacking up his Q by rushing boots as soon as possible. So you're going to see that the block on my hill is a really good start. Now, once I start the wave, you're going to see that he actually pulls aggro to his range creep. He should not do this, because it sets me up to do exactly what I'm going to do, which is hit this creep down low, walk forward, and get 2 last hits with my inner fire, and then that's going to make it difficult for Viper to meaningfully harass me because he's dealing with more creeps on his side than I have on mine, and we're both level 1 ranged heroes. So that gives me the range creep deny, and then here's the next mistake he's going to make. This lane is all about whose hill it's on, because if it's on my hill, I can manage the CS. If it's on his hill, it's really difficult for me to walk up. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to keep the creep outside of tower range while he's going to take his 2 creeps into tower. He should definitely look to kite the creeps outside of his tower, holding the next wave, keeping it on his hill. But now you're going to even see that I'm going to do a cute little trick where I globally aggro, take my creep this way, which makes it even more so going to stay on my hill. And now the next wave is also slightly on my side of the river. I'm level 2 and he's not, so this is going to allow me to have a little bit more free time to myself where he's not super strong just yet. And notice how I'm setting myself up to get 2 last hits with my Q again. And because I got level 2 before him, that allowed me to do it in a way that didn't cost me too many resources. And since he's busy CSing under tower, even though he wants to be hitting me, this is a great time to know that if he tries to hit me, it's going to be inconvenient for him. He's going to miss out on gold. So I can kind of afford to mess with his creeps regardless. So even if I don't get the denies, I'm making him miss the last hits, or at least making it more difficult for him to get the last hits. So notice how every time he's stuck going for last hits, I get some breathing room to not have to worry about getting harassed. So I'm always checking basically to see if he's choosing to hit me or the creeps. So in that case, he hit me, so I denied the creeps. If he's looking to last hit the creeps, I'm looking to deny them with him, right? So once again, lane is on my hill. Ideally, this ping pong is really good if you're the guy that's at the disadvantage. If you're at the advantage, you want the lane to sit right here on top of your hill, consistently, same equilibrium. If you're at the disadvantage, to get less interaction between you and the opponent, you want it to keep going back and forth like this. So that's why when I can, I push the wave immediately. Well, he should stop drawing aggro defensively to his range because that creates a lot of this ping-ponging action and a lot of these exchanges of last hits and denies, which is not good for him because he's favored in the matchup. So notice how often I'm defensively aggroing, keeping the creeps away from him. I'm even stopping to go get the rune, dropping my stat items. So now that I have boots before him and he elected to go for bottle, it feels pretty good for a bad matchup, right? We're feeling like we're setting ourselves up well to get the hell out of here. Because even though we're definitely winning this lane so far, 17-6 to 9-1, honestly, just skill diff here. It's okay, Viper, I understand. That we still are in a bad matchup and we still do not want to be here any longer than we have to be. And once he gets level 6, we're 100% done because he can just kill us with his ultimate pretty much for free. So notice how I'm always trying to defensively aggro, kill creeps as fast as possible, little to no interaction with the Viper. And that's a lot of ways of dealing with Viper, not only in the lane, but in the game. He's a slow hero that doesn't really have any mobility. And so you're going to see later how that comes into play, this whole avoiding him strategy. So I get my Helm of Iron Will, which is going to allow me to sustain a bit better in the jungle, using the global aggro again. So every time Viper goes for a rune, every time he's doing something that is not hitting me, I try my best to get as many creeps as possible. So I go deny that rune because I don't even want the HP and I have full mana. So notice how Viper is going to the bottom rune right now. So what does that mean? Kill creeps as fast as possible before he comes back, because I don't want to be here when he's here. And now I get to jungle. And as I'm jungling, you're going to see that I'm going to start checking my own lane to see if Viper's pushing the lane back into my tower. I'm checking other lanes potentially to see if there's gank opportunities. I see that Viper's pushing the lane back into me. I see that he's only level 5. So I see that I can come soak some XP. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Get 2 waves of XP underneath my tower. A few CS here and there, but most notably the XP. And then we defend from the catapult and we leave. And so in these types of circumstances, everything we're doing is avoiding Viper, laning as little as possible. And even though we want to defend our tower, we just have to accept that if we run into this guy, now that he's level 6, we're just going to die. So let's not do that. The feeding is not going to happen just yet, guys. So notice how I haven't even taken my ultimate. Doesn't really help you jungle unless you need it to like lower your own HP, which I don't. So between lane, back and forth, even placing a ward to kind of defend against Viper walking into and invading me. Since he's level 6, I don't feel comfortable at all going to lane, so just maximizing farm. Maximizing farm. Even stacking a camp and picking up some neutral items at 7 minutes. So, this plan's going to stick with us for a little bit, as notice how since we built no laning items after our starting items, we're going to have a pretty well-timed armlet with 57 CS at 8 minutes. Huskar is one of the fastest junglers in the game, especially when he gets armlet. So I'm going to sneak in here and manage to pull the creeps back while Viper wasn't really thinking about it. Get a few extra CS. So notice how I'm kind of accepting my tower is going to die. I'm giving control of the lane to him. But despite that, I'm still out-leveling him, out-CSing him with 69. Very nice. And so I saw a bit ago, maybe it was a bit difficult to see when I was fast-forwarding, that Abaddon used his ulti top. So I'm going to take this opportunity to try to net a quick kill on Abaddon. So we're going to do that. And Viper's going to TP, and we're in the get out of jail, or get the hell out of here mode. So if you look at my items, this is our strat for the rest of the game. Avoid Viper at all costs. There's no item that I can buy. There's no playstyle that I can have that prevents me from just dying to his ulti. So if I get ultied by Viper, death, right? So what does that mean? Every item I buy is tailored to moving faster, mobility, and dodging him on the map at all costs. Every move I make is to force him to react. Every step I take is away from him once he has reacted. Hope you guys enjoyed that reference there. So, force Viper TP top, that's fantastic. That's going to give us a wave mid to clear out really quickly. And then we can resume our jungling shenanigans. And notice how I'm going to queue up the Boots of Travel, because that is the map mobility item of choice for most heroes in the game, as that allows me to not have to fight the Viper more so than usual. So we're pretty much giving him every single rune because our supports weren't ganking. That's fine. I'm not flaming them. It's just like, unless I get a lot of help, I'm not going to go there. And efficient jungling in the Ancients, rushing my bots as soon as possible. And so I told my team that I cannot fight Viper. I just said, hey guys, I cannot fight Viper. On top of that, not only do they have Viper, but they also have Abaddon, who's a really strong 5-manning hero. And I just said, guys, we cannot fight Viper and Abaddon. So pretty much all of the mistakes you guys will see, unless it's my dazzled DCing and remaining out of position, is my teammates choosing to fight the opponent when they're balled up as a group. When you're dealing with lineups that lack mobility, have high survivability, and want to just walk down lanes, it is absolutely essential that you do not feed them. It is not even that good for them if they don't get these 2 kills that they're taking all of our tier 1 towers. The only reason the net worth has evened out is because they're also getting kills. If you look at the farm, I'm on top and PA's on second, and all of their cores are following behind. So we're winning the farm war, and we just have to make sure that we don't give them kills while they're doing what they're doing. So I have the Boots of Travel now. I fly myself some dust because they have a core bounty hunter. I want to be ready to kill him. So in this case, I have it coming to me. I get the dust. I go on the bounty, and he dies. So whenever I do something like this, whenever I make a move, I am operating under the assumption that they reacted. So if we look at the minimap right now, we don't see anybody. So even if I don't know exactly where they are, like, they could just not be here, right? They could have just not TP'd. For all I know, they could be jungling bottom. They could be jungling anywhere in here, Ancients. But if I make a move and I'm trying to avoid the opponent, I have to assume that if I'm trying to avoid them, that they're trying to find me. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to operate under that assumption until I see information otherwise that they did react. And in this case, that is exactly what they did. This enemy will be overly 5-manning throughout the rest of the game. And I can tell you guys, at lower MMRs, that's something that I often see, is overly 5-manning in games like this when they do have the advantage when they do 5-man. So it's not like they're wrong to 5-man, they just do it too much. Get away immediately, play for farm again, right? So the difference here is that my teammates in their farming pattern actually went like this, and then they ran into the opponent, and you see that they're now stuck here. Ideally, when we force that reaction, somebody on my team would clear this wave really quickly and then be farming here, as opposed to farming in this area and getting booted away. So notice how I assumed the reaction came and left, and my team did the opposite. And I'm just trying to show you guys the types of mistakes you guys make in your games And a game like this is just perfect for talking about. All that matters is picking and choosing your fights. Like, it doesn't matter, you'll see later, what items we have once the fight occurs. All that matters is that Viper is not there. That's all that matters, because his ulti completely cripples me, completely cripples the PA. It even cripples Razor, but he's going to use it on me or PA, and then we're the majority of our team's damage. So what that means for me and everyone else on the team is that our items need to be mobility based. They need to be kiting based. They need to be kill somebody and get the hell out, or go on somebody, force reactions and get the hell out. So what you're going to see as mistakes here is that someone like Lion is actually going to go for a first item Lotus Orb in an attempt to help us fight better. But that's not the problem in this game. There's no items we can buy to not be broken and just die on my side. We want to pick and choose our fights rather than itemizing for fights. Itemizing for fights is generally better when the opponent can fight you whenever they want to. It's also generally better if they have high mobility, if they're the ones that are forcing the issue. But since we can just dodge them and ignore them on the map because they lack mobility, they lack stuns other than from their 4-position hoodwink, then we should be itemizing to not fight them and split them up and then take favorable numbers. So we immediately TP to the other lane, assuming that we forced a Viper TP, but we don't know. So there he is, run away from Viper, immediately TP top because there's no Viper. I was busy screaming at my team, please go on these guys because they don't have Viper. I did do a lot of that kind of toxically, to be honest, because I told them about 9 times. I end up dying here. That was a bit frustrating for me, but that is feed number 1, boys. Sadly, my Razor was dying to Ancients, unfortunately. But we're not here to blame our teammates. We're here to talk about exactly why it was so frustrating to play this game. Everything we're doing is saying, get away from Viper. When we see Viper, go somewhere else. It means farm somewhere else or go kill heroes that are not near Viper. That is the entire plan. And this is great for dealing with any heroes that are incredibly annoying and lack mobility. So in this case, we lost a lot of map control because of the top deaths. Not going to make any excuses. I was busy trying to micromanage the team, and what ended up happening was I forgot they had a bounty hunter, and I died to him tracking me, plus the stun on his invis hit. And now we're in a really weird spot where we've completely lost map control, and the opponent is able to 5-man. So despite the fact that they are 5-manning, what we're trying to do is either pick off Viper by himself or force Viper away from everybody else so that we can fight everyone else. Remember, all that means is we have mobility items. So this game was made especially difficult by Lion because he never built a blink. And he's the guy responsible for catching people, right? To blink hex people. So you're going to see that my items, I had blink queued up. I'm actually going to elect to go for the Hurricane Pike first because that extra range also lets me get away or position better in fights. And then it lets me get away from the Hoodwink ulti if I ever see it coming. So we managed to get a 2 for 2. Unfortunately, it was 2 cores for 1 core and a support. But the emphasis, if you are my teammate this game, trust me, you know, I said, guys, stop fighting them, push other waves. I really wish the Lion had played with me on the map where, like, we see this bounty hunter and he could be dying. But in this case, a lot of games, your team's not going to be coordinated. So we kind of just have to keep sticking to our guns about, like, don't fight Viper. We see Viper, which is mid right now. We're going to run towards bottom. So in this case, we didn't run towards bottom because we had wards. We saw Viper leave mid, and we wanted to push out mid while he wasn't there. So we push out the lane. We see them top. Whenever you see a lineup that you don't want to fight, immediately push the other 2 lanes, right? We see this. We don't want to fight them. We're pushing mid. We're TPing bottom in order to take this tower. And since they're done taking this tower, we now have to operate under the assumption that the only reason they were top was to get the tower. And since we're pushing a tower, they're going to respond to us, right? These are putting ourselves in the head of the opponent. So they did. And so you're going to see me draw lines. And I'm going to say, hey, guys, get away from here. We forced them. So I needed somebody on my team, in this case looks like Razor, to immediately run top and push out this wave. And the rest of us to immediately run across the map. Now, the issue is that when this happens, it's difficult in pubs to get your team to group up because what we want them to do is consistently group up away from Viper. We want to push other lanes after that reaction is forced. It is so important to first force that reaction and then secondly, go somewhere else and get something meaningful done, whether that's getting a kill, whether that's taking an objective. So we did the first part where we pushed 2 lanes, got a reaction, and then once you get that reaction, understanding that our entire purpose against a hero like Viper was to get that reaction. Everything we were doing beforehand was to get them to react such that we can actually do things we like to do. So when we do that, and the rest of the team doesn't really have that sense of urgency, and they take passive pathing like this guy goes here, these are the things we need them not doing. So if you're supports, if you're learning from this as a low MMR player, force that reaction, and then be high, or have a sense of urgency. Have a huge sense of urgency. As what ends up happening here is we don't really get anything done because of the fact that of everything I'm saying, but I do manage to force a tower, and they're all missing. So I'm operating now under the assumption that they're roshing because they all TP'd bottom and they weren't showing anywhere. So if they're all 4 bottom, I have to think, what would they be doing as 4 bottom, which is rosh. So that's why I took that tower back door, and I also knew Viper's TP was still on cooldown for a bit. It just came up, and now we're going to manage to feed a little bit to the Viper ulti. As you see, this is my life. If Viper manages to Viper strike me, so pretty depressing to play this matchup, to be honest. But we got our Hurricane Pike done, and despite the fact that they've killed me a bunch, we're managing to keep the lanes out. And so we see Viper bottom. I draw lines to push top and mid. Push top and mid. As we see Viper bottom. Viper still bottom, push the lanes. Viper still bottom, push the lanes. And so the whole reason that this is so important is because if you can't fight the opponent and you don't push the other lanes, you're allowing them to eventually walk down a lane as 5 and make you fight them, which is exactly what we don't want. So having that option to force them to respond to you is of the utmost importance, especially when you're a hero like Huskar that has decent tower damage. So we see them bottom, Hoodwink TP's top. That's not good enough for us to force a reaction yet. So now that I see Viper top, I am screaming at my team to go. I am saying, I actually can't scream because I don't use voice comms in this, but I am begging my team to run in. Go, go, go. I need my PA to blink in. You know, I need people to go in. We need to seize this opportunity. The sense of urgency when we force Viper Hoodwink top has to be high. Razor needs to run immediately down here and cut them off. These are all the things that needed to happen during this game. So we managed to run them down a bit. This was with me typing angrily. Sorry for getting frustrated in an educational Smurf game, guys. Was doing it for the sake of education. And you're going to see that if we take a fight without Viper there, it doesn't matter what items we have. We're just going to win the fight. So wipe them 4 for 0 because no Viper, right? Sense of urgency. So my follow-up item is just more mobility. Pick and choose the fight more carefully, which is Blink Dagger. We see Viper as well as a bat in mid. I tell my team, be careful after taking that tower. If Viper can be there, we don't want to be there. We saw Viper bottom, so we're good now to push out top and mid. The plan remains consistent. We see Viper, go away from Viper. In this case, my team elects to take the Tormentor. I don't particularly mind that. It's just that if Viper proceeded to show here again, we could have just killed these guys. It really felt like the difficulty here is that my hero doesn't really offer kill threat without some help, especially from the Lion, who still does not have a blink yet because he's rushing the Lotus Orb. Whenever we did have Viper on the map, whenever we did see him, I feel like we're doing low priority objectives like a Tormentor, and I like to think we play the map, which play the map means force reactions, look for opportunities, and use our information from all of these wards to like get crucial kills. But in this case, we can't do any of that for all the reasons mentioned, so we just have to farm, which we're going to get a lot of farm. I was debating on queuing up the Lincolns, but in this case, I'm going to end up going for the Ags because that gives me the pick-off potential that I need, that I don't have from the Lion. Sometimes when you're in lower MMR games, you'll have to itemize to do the job of some of your teammates, which in this case is offering the pick-off. I don't hate Ags on Huskar in general, but I felt like I needed other items this game. But I ended up going Ags because of that reason. I tell my team don't fight if we see Viper. We see Viper bottom. We end up using our stuff on Abaddon. Pop his ulti. Notice how a fight breaks out and I immediately go to another lane. The neutral I chose was a mobility neutral. So our gut reaction when we see a bunch of heroes is to get out. That needs to be our gut reaction. Everything we're doing is Force Staves, Glimmer Capes, get the hell out. And the issue is that this guy's reaction is to TP in and run at them with BKB on. And this is the complete opposite of what we're supposed to be doing in the game. So I take this time because we don't have BKBs to TP mid and push out this lane to avoid them at all costs. Notice how I'm now stalling their push. This is with the emphasis, guys, that I understand I'm smurfing right now, and I want you to see the difference in mentality of the sense of urgency I have to immediately push lanes, to immediately dodge them at all costs. To see a bunch of heroes on their team means to do something that forces a reaction rather than reacting to them and fighting them. So everything I'm doing is under that lens, and I'm emphasizing all the things I do and also emphasizing all the things my teammates do that does not fit that bill. So notice how in this case, I'm jungling, just chilling, and I see Viper top. I saw him. He TP'd top. So what do? I immediately stop what I'm doing. I tell my team, run across the map. Kill them, guys. Kill them, right? That is exactly what happened here. So we get kills because there's no Viper. And because Viper's coming, I managed to get another kill. TPing bottom and killing this bounty hunter. We even had dust ready if we didn't have that sentry. And now the problem is, you know, my team's pushing mid. They used fortification. And I understand that the entire enemy team is dead right now. But if Viper can be there, and if they're respawning, that is effectively a fight that the enemy team can take with Viper. So my team said they stuck around because they thought Viper's alone, who cares anyways. But the enemy used fortification, which killed the entire creep wave. And for the entire duration that we could be hitting the tower, we're not, right? They're currently going to be alive again. And by the time they're alive again is when we're hitting the buildings. So we go on Viper, no blink on Lion. And sadly, my PA is going to end up dying to a Hoodwink ulti. So notice how, in this case, you guys may think they're all dead, go kill high ground. But what happened this game was that if you get a bunch of kills, and before the fight happened, all of the lanes were pushed into your side of the map. Notice how the opponent had map control the entire game. They had map control where we were the ones dodging them at all costs, pushing out creep waves, and then trying our best to get our way out of our base. What happens with that first teamfight win is that you now have map control. That first teamfight win does not mean you get to go high ground. If you don't have map control, you don't often just lead a bunch of kills into high ground. It usually means push out all the lanes and maybe take a tier 2 or something. And then in this case, play the map and get Roche. Somebody can go push top, go through the portal, and then we can play for Roche, right? Because it's respawning very soon. But this is a huge common mistake that people make at lower MMRs, which is turning a teamfight win where you didn't have map control into feeding at the enemy base. So the note to take away from here is if you win a fight, think about what the map looked like before the fight and now what it looks like after. And if you have map control now, that is a huge win. And you do not have to go high ground to get a win off of the fight. So now we're kind of back to square one where we don't have any map control because we lost 2 of our cores. So ITP top immediately pushed it out. Sadly, the impatience from me is going to get the best of me. So what happened here was I see them on the map. I see Viper. And I get overzealous because I see Viper. No excuses. I see Viper. I'm seeing red. I'm also a bit tilted. That's not an excuse. It's a reason. I am a bit tilted. So just because you're tilted doesn't mean you should do what I do. This is a complete and utter feed. So my goal here was, oh, Viper's not here. Let's get a quick kill on a support that we see walking through vision. We used Hurricane Pike poorly and lost vision of him and died for free. So now we've made this situation triply worse. As my 2 teammates who died, in my opinion, for no reason, I have now joined them as a 3rd hero who's died for no reason. That play would be great if my teammates were alive. like Viper TP's top, we can punish because my teammates are alive. But in this case, they're not alive, obviously, so it results in just me being a noob and feeding. So what happens here is they take Roche the second time because of this chain of events. Don't be any of these three people. Don't be the two guys that walk high ground and die after a one fight like we talked about. And don't be the guy like me that gets really tilted that your teammates did that, because that's just going to lead to you feeding as well. So notice how they're now barreling down a lane. This is what we've been ever so fearful of. I am drawing lines on the minimap saying, please push. I'm asking my PA, please push, please push. Please come push is what I was saying. I said, please, PA, please just come push, please. So he does. He comes and pushes. And this is how you deal with enemy lineups that you don't want to fight. So we see Viper TPing, right? So we're going to try to get the hell out of here after forcing a reaction. So in this case, we should lose Lion because Viper TP'd. He has Aegis. We should be out. PA gets out. I get out. Razor gets out. But that does not happen the way we... Actually, that does happen. I forgot. So we try to kill the Abaddon, but it doesn't work out. That was actually well played by my team. Go team. I was so busy critiquing. So now we're looking for opportunities to potentially kill them since they're separated on the map. What we just did there, even if you sacrifice a support, is absolutely fantastic because we defended our high ground effectively. Notice how that's how you defend your racks. So I see them setting up to do the exact same thing mid. They have Abaddon, they have Viper, they're not going to walk down mid. So I'm telling my team, push lanes, push lanes, push lanes. So with this information, I immediately TP top. Push, 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 push. Telling them to immediately push bottom, please. Please push bottom. And so what happens is simple. When we are attempting to make them separate, right, which in this case, they're taking a tower. Remember what we talked about earlier where we saw them taking this tier 2 tower and then we backed up from taking this tower because they finished the tower? That part is very important. You have to remember why they were grouped up. So they are grouped up taking this tower. Now everyone who's on the map has to be very careful of not getting caught because the opponent is no longer showing. You can see that there's a creep wave here, and it is now absolutely crucial that we do not get caught. So in this case, PA is going to go on the wave. And my Lion's going to get caught. And then instead of getting out and running, the PA and Razor are going to have long TPs. PA gets caught as well. And we lost 2 heroes. So since they reacted to my teammate's bottom, the best thing we can do is try to force a reaction here. So especially when you're at disadvantageous numbers, I tell my team, don't commit. We're just trying to force a reaction. So we kill the Jakiro. Fantastic. Now, my Dazzle is going to be a casualty here. Understandable. He's a support, limited survivability. What is Razor doing? Razor? Why? Why, Razor? As he ends up getting away with his BKB, but we just needed him to... Or he actually ends up dying. We needed him to just not do that. Notice how of a different page we're on as a team. And it is difficult in these educational Smurf lobbies because I do vouch not to communicate with voice. In this game, I might have needed to if I really wanted to win, to be honest. Once again, same game plan resumes. I am so busy being frustrated and communicating that I'm actually forgetting to buy items. You're going to see at one point I have 9k gold. And I'm going to tell you guys, I did not handle this very well. If you are getting overly frustrated and dwelling on your teammates' mistakes like I did during this game, you will forget basic things. So I think in hindsight, I was really trying my best to win this game to show you guys how to win. But I'm realizing now that I think it's pretty clear how you're supposed to win this game, right? Just from the footage and me talking about it, that I didn't need to win in order to teach you guys. I should have been taking pride in how well I played. And at the end of the day, even though I'm trying to teach you guys, I'm actually playing way worse. And that's the whole point of these lobbies, is that I'm meant to play well to show you guys how to cleanly win these games, or at least do everything you could have done to win this game. And in this case, because of my desperation feeds, because of my mispositioning against Viper a couple times, I do end up losing this game. And that's the part of this video that I want to really help you guys learn from my own mistakes, not just conceptually in how to beat Viper, but in terms of keeping your composure when your teammates are not playing according to the way that your hero needs to be played. That is something I did very poorly in this game. But we managed to split push as long as possible. We've still got a lead because of how farmed we are. That's something really important to keep in mind. even though 9,000 of that gold is in my backpack. So we're going to keep tripling down on seeing Viper going on other people. So like if we rewind, because I know I've been fast forwarding, we see Viper bottom. We see enemy hero top. We say, go enemy hero, go, 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 draw lines, go, 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 go. Dunk this guy from long range. Get a nice kill. And we're also going to be tripling down on mobility when it comes to my items. So the next items I'm going to go are Swift Blink, and then a little bit of a surprise item that I wanted to try out was Disperser for the haste. Notice how Viper forces me to BKB, and I barely live. We end up taking a fight around Viper. Even though he doesn't have ultimate, this fight could be decent, but sadly, like, my Razor's already dead. It's really hard for me to go in with no BKB. I'm quickly clearing the wave that they would have pushed if they tried to take a tower. Notice how much my mobility is paying off. Finally find the presence of mind to buy items. I would have preferred we just didn't fight there. Maybe we take a quick kill and get out. That's like the type... We're playing guerrilla warfare here, guys. That's what we're playing. And it was tough to get my team on the same page of walking into them. Because even though if they don't have Viper ulti, Abaddon's really hard to walk into. So is Jakiro, because they just have a lot of survivability and slows and AoE control. So we have Disperser now. It's meant to help us kite fights. That's what it's meant to do. Not bad damage. It's haste movement speed. We're going to save up to buy the Ag Synth. We see Viper mid, so we push another lane. Tell our team, please don't fight Viper. Push other lanes. Enemies barreling down mid. So now we're getting into a base trade situation where the enemy's trying to force it, and we're trying to force it as well. We're going to take 2 lanes of racks here, and the opponent is going to commit to going all in GG. So we are going to TP back to base in order to fight them. Arguably, I could have tried to save buyback, but since they also TP'd back to base on Abaddon in order to defend, they weren't all-inning our base. So we end up actually pushing them away. I did tell the team, like, if they try to fight us, then or they try to end the game, we do have to fight them, obviously. But we end up taking a good trade, 2 racks for 1. And I'm going to make the game-losing play of the game, which is calling to go on Viper. Now, we smoked, and I'll be honest, I don't know where my PA went because she was with my Lion. And this is the kind of stuff you do when you're tilted. Like, right now, I think I have my PA for whatever play I'm about to make. I just think I have it. I check on the minimap. I see that I have PA. And what tilt most often does to you guys, and I'm telling you because it does to me, and I know it does it to you, and I know it does it to my teammates that are tilted because I see it happening all the time, is you don't update yourself. You don't think about why you make a decision. So if that factor changes, you don't notice it. So notice how PA is going to turn around. I don't even think about it. I'm telling you, in the middle of the game, I'm so frustrated. I don't even think about the fact that my PA just turned around because I drew this line. I drew this line doing this, right? And this guy turned around. So I don't adjust to this at all. And so what's going to happen is I call to go on Viper thinking we have the damage to kill him, but it's just me and the Lion. And I don't press my BKB, wondering what the fuck happened. And then I die to Viper Strike. And then my PA goes in and dies as well. Could have blinked away, but he decided to commit. So overall, this play alone lost us the game. Everything that happened in this game, all of the mistakes that we talked about, all of the things, we were still ahead by 6k gold. And it was that one lapse in judgment late game by me with the highest net worth, the ultimate feed, one shall say, or one may say, that led to us losing this game, as the opponent is now going to simply march down mid and end the game. Now, I want to rehash and reemphasize, guys, that I was very frustrated during this game, and that's not good. I'm not proud of that. I'm not saying that you should be frustrated, but these are naturally frustrating games where you are trying to convince your team to play the way that you know your hero who's countered needs to play the game. But sometimes your teammates are unfamiliar because they haven't played that matchup before. In this case, sometimes they're unfamiliar just because they're lower MMR and you're trying to have them operate at a higher level than they're used to. But regardless of any of that, I want you to see from this game, I hope your takeaway would be that my feeds were the ones that led to the game ending, despite all of the things that I critiqued about what my team was doing, expressing all of my frustrations that I had the highest net worth, I had the utmost ability to win this game, and my impatience, my tilt, and my feeds were what lost this game. This is an important lesson, I think, for all of us to learn sometimes. Sometimes you have to learn it a lot of times. And I hope you guys learned it with me a bit today, as my own self-awareness of my own problems and mishaps can hopefully shed some light on yours. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you liked this video. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time.